Once you grasp this truth that I'm about to tell you, it'll set you free from religion. It'll set you free from parents and moms and family and governments and police, everybody. It'll set you free. And it's simply this. You are divine. God has exploded in a Crab Nebulae explosion, and he has come and manifested himself as billions of people. And you're one of you, and so am I. When I look at you, I see God. When you look at me, you see God. That's why God's name is I am. I am God. It doesn't mean that me, God. It means I am. When you say I am God, you have to say, what is God's name? I am. What? I am God. Oh my God, then all the people, Christians run around, oh, I told you they think they're God. I don't think anything on the side. No, Jesus Christ said, the scripture says you are God, and the scripture cannot be broken. So he said it.
Yeah, like on Nas third album.
Peace, family. How you all doing? I hope all is well with you. My name is Keisha. I'm the owner of Ascendant Astrology, and I am your astrology coach. Today, I will be completing the Dark Side of the Sign series with Gemini. So, Gemini is my sun sign. I actually think they was quite nice, to be honest, because I think we're fucking batshit crazy. That's just my personal opinion, but you know, this was nice. I was like, oh, that's not that bad. That's what I found myself saying as I'm taking notes. But you guys tell me your thoughts. Please feel free to add your 2 cents in the comments. Let me know if you know some dark-sided Geminis. And I'll obviously be including my personal experiences. I've never really had any experiences with Gemini men. I have to be honest about that. I don't think we're compatible that way, nor do I've just never really, I don't know any Gemini men. And so, yeah. So the dark-sided Gemini male can be crazy, but they're also very jovial, happy, people in general. But they can also be insensitive and argumentative. They can be cross-dressers or trans underneath the surface. So I think of like Andre 3000 and Prince. The guys who can get away with wearing the earrings and the high heels and the skirts. I think, what's his name? They was just talking about him recently. For some reason, I want to say it's Talib Kweli, but I could completely have that wrong. Or is it Mos Def? And he like changed his name or something, and I seen him, he had like a skirt on. Now, I don't know if he's a Gemini or not, but it's those type of people who dress like that who tend to those would be considered Gemini themes. They contradict themselves a lot. They'll lie to seem important or interesting, just like the Leo dark-sided male. They have ADHD. And so they can be very restless and always feel the need to have to be doing something. They are talkative, and so they talk a lot and they talk a lot of shit. But they can't back it up. They can be goofy jokesters. They will embarrass you in public and be kind of ill-mannered. They're cheaters. They live a double life, have a lot of friends with benefits. And so a Gemini male might have a lot of friends, but they're probably people that they've slept with in the past. They get bored if they're not stimulated. And so that's another reason why they tend to cheat. They're not good with money, always late or won't show up at all. So he's very unreliable. They are easily distracted, have a smart mouth, and will make fun of you. They lack direction in life and discipline. They're very unethical when it comes to their morals, and have violent tempers if pushed. Um, um, they can be messy and disorganized. He might not put much thought in his look. He can be an airhead like Wayne's World, or too smart, and that kind of makes them inconsiderate of other people's feelings. Jumpy and jittery, crazy drivers, and they have this very I don't give a fuck attitude. The dark side of Gemini female can be flighty, shifty, and restless, inconsistent and unreliable, talk too much or talk too fast, will talk over you. And a lot of the times she'll be doing a lot of talking, but doesn't really talk about anything important. She just wants to be important, argumentative, opinionated, and will contradict herself. As everybody knows, the famous saying for Geminis is that they're two-faced. I actually think it's so much deeper than that, but let's not negate the fact that there are some two-faced Geminis out there, especially when we're talking about the dark-sided female. But when you're thinking about this from the uh what do you call it? I don't know why I can't think of the name now. The mythology of Gemini, which is not two women or two men, by the way. So I kind of don't know. That new thing came with the whole feminist movement crap, to be honest with you. If you go back to the old pictures or old depictions of Gemini, the two-faced ideology is their brothers. They're twin brothers. One was mortal and one was immortal. And during a battle that they were having, one of the brothers died, and he went to hell. And the mortal brother, obviously he can't die, or the immortal brother, obviously he doesn't die, right? But he begged the devil for permission to be able to either bring his brother back to life, or have the permission to go in the underworld whenever he wants, so that he can visit his brother. And so because of that, Geminis tend to have a very close connection to the underworld, because they're constantly down there visiting their brother. And their brother would be giving them information, true facts, and things of that nature for him to bring as a messenger. So another depiction of Gemini energy is the little um, person with the feathers. These are the messengers of the zodiac to bring messages from the underworld to the people here on Earth. And so that's where the idea of the devil and the angel come in as well. And so a lot of the times, we might come up with some crazy theories, or just have these crazy ideas, or just ideas in general. And we have two different sides to those ideas, a light side and the dark side. And so this takes place, really, there are multiple signs that have two-sided depictions, first of all. Second of all, we all have lightness and darkness. And so another way to look at being two-faced is somebody who is very has a keen understanding of the dark side and the light side of something. But in light of this being the dark-sided energy, this is also the Joker, somebody who's the trickster, which is also Aquarian energy as well. Somebody who is very vindictive, and even to the point where this is somebody who's really good at altering their personality enough to get somebody, or to lure somebody somewhere in a dark corner to do what with them they will. And because Gemini is a sign of children, or childhood education, these are typically rapists, or molesters, or the ice cream man, to be more specific and relatable. The clown gesture, um, who will lure a child, to get them to come with them somewhere and take them and take advantage of them. Right. And so in that way, yes, we're talking about somebody who's fucking psychotic. Okay. I just want to say that mentally. You don't get the opportunity to go down to hell and see what hell is like without actually have to been there for some specific reason, without having some kind of fucking mental issue. You are absolutely fucking cocked. Okay. I can attest to that. Maybe even have dark humor, dark jokes, nasty sadistic sex jokes about children and very inappropriate things. I'd even say incest, having sexual experiences with siblings or family members in general. This is very keep it in the family type of shit. Um, and anything to do with the hand. So again, molestation, touching, feeling inappropriate things with your hands and things of that nature. I feel like I can go on and on and on because I gotta tell you, family, there's not a mistake as to why I am very connected to my dark side. If you've been following me for a long time, I talk about this all the time. You know, I know I'm mentally fucked up, okay? And I can sit up here and use the excuses of all the things that I've been through. And sure, that plays a really big role in why people are crazy, but I'm attracted to it. I think it's very attractive, and I embrace my dark-sided self. I think that's probably one of the most exciting parts of myself. And in that sense, it's very healing and healthy if we're being super honest. Again, because we all have dark-sided traits, but I think there's a level of, yeah, that's not funny. That's a little too close to crazy for me. So I say this lightly, but I also just want to take a seat back and be very serious. I think Geminis are fucking psychotic. And if they're on their dark side, I wouldn't trust them as far as I can throw them. So um yeah. Um can I add anything else to that? Maybe. I don't know, probably, but she cannot be trusted. They will stab you in the back, gossip, talk behind your back, and sometimes even in your face as if you're not even there. Um, I got to be honest with you. In sight of Gemini having a very dark side, I also think they're some of the sweetest, kindest people in the entire world and would hate to see something bad happen to somebody. However, again, because they are very connected to dark-sided thoughts and dark-sided energy in general, um, what you don't want to do is talk about a Gemini in any way, shape, or form, especially if it's some form of embarrassment or you're intentionally trying to hurt them. This action right here can get you killed, fucking around with a dark-sided Gemini, but also just in general. When I think about this idea, I think of, the idea of people stepping on your new shoes, stepping on your toes, or doing things intentionally to try to hurt you or be insensitive. If you do that to a Gemini, what they are going to do is take that same energy and give it right back to you. So when I think of somebody saying that a dark-sided Gemini female is the type of person who will talk shit in front of your face, they probably had it done to them. And so these aren't the people who are going to kind of shy away, even if they say something stupid, which would probably most likely be what it is because they wasn't prepared for that. They don't care. They're coming for you. And so this is somebody who's not mentally well. Um, so think of it like that. But they're gonna say something back to you right to your face. Um, they will put you on blast. They're very insensitive, have no filter, and tend to use, words that can be very hurtful. They have a smart ass mouth. They tend to run late and have a lot of nervous energy, like nail biting, twirling their hair, playing with things like ropes, or, like fidgety, or always have to do something. I think I talked about this and I used the example of the idea of needing to smoke a cigarette. Um, but also Gemini rules anything with the mind, and or Mercury, more better, is about nervous energy and the nervous system. And so things that we do to keep us occupied in some way, shape, or form, especially because Geminis have to stay mentally stimulated, and if they're not, then they have to do something. So busybodies, restless, nail biters, um, doing things like this, or shaking the leg, or, something like that, which can be super annoying. Or they'll always feel like they need to touch things and misplace things, and mess with things, or make some kind of noises or hum. I definitely hum when I eat, and I shake my leg. I used to bite my nails, or I used to suck on my lip, my bottom lip. Um, I can be very fidgety with my hair or something to that effect. So I can attest to these things for sure. They can be very devious just because she's bored. Um, this is the epitome of an idle mind is the devil's playground. And so they can tend to get into a lot of trouble if they're bored, because they might do something very unethical or that lacks moral, or what's the word I'm looking for? Um, what is it when you speak? Oh my God, it's gonna drive me crazy. It's right at the tip of my tongue. Um, it's not uncouth, tactful or tactless, rather. And so again, going back to that idea, well, they'll just say stupid, dumb shit or things that don't make sense. Like I think of like Tourette's. Um, I mean, it's an actual real mental health problem, but again, just having to say things, move, or make gestures to keep themselves idle, or even because they are the jokers and the comedians of the zodiac, um like the movie The Joker, that guy, the last one, he had a thing about laughing all the time. Such a Gemini trait, even if it's unpleasant and it's nothing to laugh, it's like a nervous reaction. This is a very Gemini thing. However, I'm telling you, that person's not fucking well. Okay, they need help. Um, they might tease and taunt you or ridicule you, make fun of you. They can't be serious. Again, going back to that idea of laughing at everything, even if it's something that's not fucking funny. I do that a lot. Um, I really tried to work on it. The fucking problem is that even if it is something that's not a laughable moment, the real reason why I laugh at stuff like that is because I see me and whatever that is, because I know I'm not well. These are the people who talk to themselves out on the streets. Crazy. These are the crazy people. Um, and so again, they can't take things seriously when you need them to, or they can be too intellectual or too smart or too matter of fact. And again, it makes them seem very insensitive, vulgar, or have a potty mouth. Or again, telling the sex jokes, or these are the ratchets of the zodiac sign. They can be very vindictive and violent. Again, they don't need a reason. Um, You tend to not be able to tell their dark side right off the bat because of their jovial, upbeat demeanor. They're liars and don't need a reason, disloyal. She will cut you off for anything, but especially if you do them wrong. Masculine, too aggressive and too severe, too logical and too emotionally detached. They can be disorganized, immature, touchy, lacks principles, ethics. This is the Machiavellian idea. Go look up. I mean, I'm pretty sure most of you are already aware, because Tupac talked about Machiavelli. It's no mistake that he's a Gemini, and Machiavelli was like his favorite. Go look it up. Refresh your memory about who Machiavelli is. And that's going to tell you everything you need to know about the dark side of Gemini and how their minds really work. They're very undisciplined in the work, especially if she doesn't like her job. She will slack off or quit at a moment's notice. And so it's important for Geminis to have jobs that they really, really like. I did talk about this, I think, in one other video, but I also could just be thinking that I did. But yeah, I did in my Aries, dark-sided Aries video. I got fired from a lot of jobs because of my fucking mouth. But it was because I think I have a complex. I don't like when people talk down to me. I will bite back. And I'll do it in front of everybody. And again, it's in a very tactless way. I might not even, because my mind works at a fucking 1,000 miles a minute, I might not really have a good argument as to why I'm arguing back outside of the fact that you were just being disrespectful, and I'm going to get you back by any means necessary. I remember this one time I was working at a place over by it's all nice and pretty over there now. What's that big plaza with Home Goods? I think now there's a movie theater over there and the big toy store. They did a really nice job the way they remade that place over. I think it's Somerville. Um there used to be a big office space over there just before they went out of business. I had a good friend get me a job there. He was an Aquarius, actually. I'm pretty sure I embarrassed the hell out of him. And oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was devil back then. Oh my God. But um I had got the job from a good friend of mine. It was a secretarial position or data entry. And they were actually really doing me a favor. They genuinely didn't even really need me there, but it showed. You know, they had cats and pets in the office. It was filthy. It smelled like fucking cat piss. And I can't remember what kind of business it was, but you could tell it was family owned. Everybody was really close, but they were assholes. They were probably prejudiced too. And so I was working in the front office all by myself, and I really didn't want to be there. I just needed a job, and I can't really remember what the hell happened, but yeah, somebody said the wrong thing, y'all, and I was mouthing off all up and through I wanted everybody to know how I felt before I left that office. I messed up the desk with all the papers. I poured out all their coffee before I left. This is not funny, by the way. Don't laugh. And I walked out after cursing everybody out. It was a very ugly sight. I've come a long way, you guys. I had a lot of anger problems, and I do apologize for a lot of that stuff. However, what I will say is that led me down a path of knowing the importance of having a job that I genuinely like, because if I don't, it's not going to last for me. It's not going to be too long before I say something, curse somebody out, or walk off, or both, or get fired, or all of the above. Because I don't have a filter. I really give zero fucks about how you feel about me. So if you do, I'd keep that shit to yourself unless you want to get into a fight. Like this is how my mind thinks. Um, and in that way, I think that is extremely immature. Somebody who is tactless, they don't have any discipline there, you know, no morals, no ethics. You would have thought I was raised by a bunch of animals. The crazy thing about that is my family actually considered me as the devil growing up. But it wasn't because I did devious, vindictive things. It was because they was always fucking with me and I put them in their place. And I guess, that makes me wrong. And it does because that's not how you handle problems. But at the same time, you really shouldn't mess with people or find better ways if you're going to do that, especially as your parents. You would expect them to be like, well, don't do this because, and give like a whole after school special. But I didn't get that. I got a lot of torment and what everything that I was doing wrong. And I think one of the biggest parts about why everybody thought I was the devil, interestingly enough, is because I was the only one in the family who didn't get baptized, because at the time that I was born, my father wasn't religious at the time. He was a Muslim. And so I found that very funny too. But yeah. Oh, you guys, I've come a long way. Okay. Um, but yeah. Um, they tend to wear clothes that are too tight or either too loose. These are the strippers of the zodiac. I think Pisces are too. I think Pisces might even be a little bit better. But the reason why Gemini gets the stripper um name is because of their flexibility and their agility. So they can do a lot of tricks and stuff on the pole. Um, these people don't give a fuck about what you think of them. They tend to have a lot of wardrobe malfunctions or like bad hair things going on with their hair. Um, they tend to play a lot of mind games. They're very kooky, crazy, and airheads. That airhead part is real too. Outside of being a loudmouth and a know-it-all and all that other stuff. I don't live down here with you guys. Honestly, I hate it here because everybody has to be a certain way, and I'm like, I just want to be me. And so I tend to like, I'm off with the fucking birds for real. I live in my head, quite literally. This is why I have a lot of pothead friends, and they'll be like, you can come hang out with us any fucking time you want, because I don't need to smoke to be like, I'm high right now. Like I am high on life, literally. Which is, the mind's a dangerous place, family. But oh my God, I can be very ditzy. I am clumsy. I will trip over myself. I'm always forgetting something or losing something. I swear to God, if you met me in person, however you view me, and this is why I say take me off whatever pedestal people have me on, just because I'm up here having videos or doing videos. Like, I don't know why that makes somebody a great person or whatever. It's not real. Because I'm a ditz at heart. I like being there. I think that is the best way to live life in your head. Like, oh my God, it's really just a great place to be. Um, and so I've met a lot of people who see me in that light and be like, I would have never expected you to be like, you're a real airhead. Like, yeah, it's a true story. And you know, but for the dark side of Gemini, don't let that fool you, because they are very intelligent, they're extremely smart, and they might be doing that just to get over on you. However, this could also be that they literally are ignoring you. I I think Aquariuses do this way better than Geminis. I don't know why this wasn't in the Aquarius video, but this is why we're friends. This is why we're good friends with Aquarius people, because we can ignore the fuck out of you. Be in the same room and not give a fuck about what you think about us right now. We want to be in our head. Sometimes being lost in our head is probably one of the safest places for us to be, because we can literally create our own reality in there. And it's way better than being here on Earth. Like, Earth sucks. This is why we're the aliens of the zodiac and weird and all the other terms that they tend to use. But I think you guys are losing out if you don't have an imagination like that. Like, oh, too bad, so sad. But yeah, in real life, I'm a ditz. Like, and I like it there. Um, as parents, as a parent, she can be undetached. The oldest can be the parent, have to play the parent role. They might tease or belittle or ridicule their children, call them out of their names more than they're more of a sibling to their kids, and that rather than a parent. Now, this is very true, and this goes to, I guess you can say that this is a dark side of trait, because we're very manipulative that way. In order to get in somebody's head, a Gemini knows how to meet you where you're at. And this is how we get information. Again, going back to that idea of visiting the underworld. This is why sometimes some of your negative traits or dark-sided traits are actually your superpowers. And so this was another reason why I did this series. I hope that people aren't going to use this against people as a way to say, well, I'm not going to mess with you because you're blah, 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 blah. No, 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 no. Find out what your dark sides are and where those can transition into light sides or skills that you can use for certain things in your life as a something that you can sell to get more money, to negotiate, to say, well, this is why I'm great, because I can understand these people. So that's what I was going to say before. Thank you, Spirit. Gemini also rules the streets, hoods, gangs, um, and things of that nature. And in this way, I think that that is a skill to be able to be a part of a group or something, or have a group to be connected to somebody in that kind of way. Um, or the mentality, street smarts, that is a skill. If you remember, I shared in a few other videos how I worked with men and women who went to prison for small drug offenses. And what we did was came up with a theory of the skills that it took to sell drugs, and how to use that or turn that into a skill that they can use to start their own business. We was actually really, really very, very successful with that program, and helped a lot of people start their own businesses, and even again using that knowledge and information as a workplace, like literally. And if you're in a gang and you're working with a bunch of people, what role did you play in that process, and how can you use that or think about that as no different from being in the workplace and having a job and working with other people? And you want to make sure you pick that role in your job, so that again you can negotiate to get more money, or say again, this is why I'm great at something. um and so in that way, with my kids, I can attest to this, that I'm more of a sibling or more of a friend to my children, even though I know a lot of people are against that. But if you belittle or mistreat a child, it's going to be natural for them to shut down and not share anything with you. And so when they get older and they want to get into devilment or devious shit, they're never gonna tell you about it unless you are paying attention to your children. And so my theory behind that not being a thing is, again, to embrace their darker side. The only way you can do that is if you get into somebody's head. And so the idea of being able to play games or mind games or things of that nature, this is just somebody who's super, super intelligent. And using that in a more effective way can be a skill as opposed to being something bad. So, like, my son tells me everything. Some things I really rather not hear, but at the same time, I appreciate it because now I know where his mind's at. I know what he's out there doing, and I know how to come up with different sets of skills and things to help him or redirect however that situation turned out. Well, why do you think you did that? And I can get to know what it is what was his thinking behind that, because he's open to telling me things, because I'm not judging him for it. I'm just genuinely asking him about his experience. And so in that way, like I mentioned, I'm pretty sure in many other of my other videos, my oldest son, that's my best friend. Like, that's my nigga for real. Like, I really love him, even though he can be annoying at times. But on the very ground level, we have a real super tight connection, because we're able to talk to each other, even when we do things that might be embarrassing or uncomfortable to share with a parent in any typical situation. And I got that skill from my mom, because my mom was an addict and she was very honest and upfront. She was like, look, I can't do nothing for you. I have nothing to offer you. Get yourself out there. Um, don't be shy, reach for the sky, and don't let nobody get in your way. And not like in a vindictive, or, it wasn't about, uh, um, walking all over people. That wasn't the message there. Just not to be afraid of opportunities and things. Walk in there with your head held high and believe in yourself. And so I grew up with that mindset and my throughout my entire life. My mom didn't allow us to shy away from anything, even if she had to go down there and hold our hand throughout the process, just to show us she was that person. She would take that initiative to say, this is how you do it. I'm going to show you, and then after that you do it on your own. So I have that mentality about myself since a little child, and I pass that on to my children as well. And I think another really good thing about being a friend, more so than a parent, in certain cases and not all the time, obviously there are times when you got to be a little bit more disciplinary, but for the most part, yeah, I'm friends with my kids because I want to know what's going on with them and how can I help them. But one more example of this is that I think I mentioned this too, that air signs tend to lack personality. And so remember, the sign of Gemini is about the child, the 3-year-old who's always tattletaling on you for doing something, literally my story. um I used to do that to my brother, and I would tell him all the time, and he would get in trouble for it. But um, aside from that, we were copycats. We wanted to be just like our oldest siblings. We did everything that they did. When your siblings weren't home and you were there by yourself, you was doing exactly what your siblings was doing, all in their shit, in their shoes, messing up their room. This is Gemini energy, right? And so, in that way, there are a lot of things that we just don't know how to do. But again, because I was raised the way that I was, if I see my child struggling with something that I don't know how to do, I will bring people in and ask for help as to how to do that, as a way to see, like, you can tell me 1,000 times how to do something, and I can completely hear you. I completely understand what it is you're saying, but I'm a hands-on person. I can't just make it up. Like, I need to see it being done. I'm very hands-on that way. Gemini also rules hands-on education. So, like tech school, like one week you would do book smarts, and then the next week you would do the actual work of whatever trade or that you was in. This is Gemini energy. And so I need both of those two to come together. And in that way, I'm a visual learner. So when my son had trouble and I didn't think that I'd be able to, I got him a big brother. If there was something else that was going on that I felt like I couldn't really help him with because I didn't know much about it, I did home counseling. And um my specific request was, how do you have fun with your kids in the house? Because I could care less about this shit, but I don't know, how do I do that? Like, what do I do? And we would play games. So Uno became like the family game in the house, and do fun things like that. This is where I get the idea of like having family meetings. So every Sunday, that's what we would do. A lot of the times I held a lot of those values by asking somebody to come in and help me. And I really, again, I care what you think about me. I know I don't have all the answers. I'm not going to sit up here out of shame or embarrassment or whatever society tells you to believe in. And meanwhile, my fucking child is suffering. I think that's my Cancer Moon connection, is the fact that I just don't understand as a parent how you would be okay with watching your child struggle through something, knowing that you don't know what to do without asking for help, or even pretending that you know what you're doing just because you're their parent, but meanwhile you might not be truly fulfilling the need that it is for that child. Like shit like that, to me, I can't watch it because I can feel the pain. I can feel that I'm not doing my job, and it is extremely uncomfortable to sit in that kind of knowing, and so again, I ask for help. I don't care. I don't want to be this kind of parent. What can I do to do better? So we used to have counselors come in and have home counseling appointments to teach me how to bring more fun and incorporate more fun and like family like activities in my home. I know I went on a bit of a tangent with that, but I'm clearly very passionate about that, so sorry. But again, I hope you've learned something from it more than anything. Um, and so I'm definitely more of a friend or a sibling to my children than a parent at times. She can share too much. I've done that too. I still think that I do. And kids don't understand. They really don't at a certain age, but I really didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I thought I was doing the right thing. Again, hence to the fact that I brought somebody else in. They can be mentally abusive to their children as well. They are cheaters, and tend to keep past lovers as friends. These are the bisexuals in the zodiac. Will have a lot of sex partners and even tend to brag about them or have a list with, um, you've ever seen women who have like or what do they call it now? Bodies, but she will have rated them to see who was better and stuff like that. She might keep track of stuff like that. Um, and that way she can be too masculine and have a lot of masculine tendencies when it comes to sleeping around. Like they do it for, I don't know, to brag and boast to their friends about how many people that they've slept with. Um, Also, another reason why she might have a lot of bodies is because she's trying to learn, and she learns something new or something different from each and every experience. She could also be somebody who likes, um, how do you say it? What do you call that? When you do, I think that there's a show called Swap My Wife or My Husband. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I've never watched the show, but these were the types of things that came to my mind when I was doing this. Is they'd be into that. Even on the darker side is like, when you switch, swingers, that's the name of it. These are your swingers, your people who will go to like sex parties like that to experience other people, in different circumstances and situations. I wouldn't say group sex, yeah, just multiple sex partners, I think is just a better or more relative to Gemini energy. Um, um, yeah. Okay. For the experience, they like to experience different things. There's not one thing Gemini won't try once. And if she doesn't like it, she's not going back. If she does, it's she's keeping it under her belt, and that, is something that she now likes. Um, and if they don't like you, they tend to be very insensitive and cold. And this can come with incestual relationships. So, like sleeping with cousins, family. I think I said that. This reminded me of Angelina Jolie, who is a Gemini, and has some dark side Gemini traits. But yeah. Yeah. So, family. I love and appreciate you. I hope you got something out of this. Peace.